Catch the latest news on our website tribune.net.ph and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. The Daily Tribune is one with the nation in facing the COVID-19 crisis, and in line with this, the Daily Tribune digital edition on Press Reader is now available for free online. You can also download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS users and Google Play for Android users to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune is also inviting everyone to join its community Viber KaTribu to get updates on the freshest and hottest news and entertainment stories of the day. Tarcito emoticons are also available on our community Viber. Just click on the link in this video to join.
Magandang hapon po mga katribu and welcome to Kalingang KaTribu. Every Wednesday, andito po kami to talk about health and wellness. This afternoon, we're going to talk about mental health or mental fitness. At ang ating special guest ngayon ay isang batikan na doktor. His name is Dr. Amedeo Jr. Alinea, President of the Philippine Psychiatric Association. Hi, Doc June.
Hello, good afternoon, ma.
Doc, ito na. Pandemya. Lahat ng mga imagined fears and trauma ng mga tao. Bakit biglang tumaas ang stress levels ng buong mundo? Hindi lamang dito sa Pilipinas, ha?
You're very right. Kasi nga po, the thing that we are facing right now is a fight against something that we cannot see. This virus actually is quite different from a disaster like flooding, earthquake. This virus is widespread. You cannot see them. You can acquire it at any point in time, and because of the government's wish to be able to contain it, ang nangyari po is we are all isolated from each other. So there is no work, there's no school, you cannot go out of your home. So all these things ay nangyayari at everybody is so worried about what will happen in the future because as of now, the virus is still ongoing.
What is the impact of isolation on the human psyche?
You know, isolation is something counterproductive to an individual. We are all social beings, and one of the things we have learned over time since we were children is social interaction, social skills, and it's very difficult to practice social skills when you're only at home. When you're isolated, you cannot see your friends. If you feel depressed, the more it gets aggravated if they isolate you. So isolation is something very restrictive to the psyche, which we are not really very much, you know, fond of because we are very sociable individuals.
Yes. No wonder, well, you see it in social media and even in chat groups. Reactions like, I think I'm going crazy. One more day of quarantine and I'm going berserk. Do you consider this as normal during pandemic times?
Well, as we always say, these are normal reactions to an abnormal situation.
Hmm.
This feeling actually, we always have this quote, it is okay not to feel okay, especially during this pandemic.
So if you are not feeling okay, what do you recommend that an individual should do?
Well, first you have to accept that this is an ongoing crisis. We
Mhm.
cannot, if you keep on denying that this is something that it's
Will
just
go
part
away.
of it's very, accepting the situation is very important for us to lessen this worry. And at least, siguro, what we need right now is taking new challenges uh, or opportunities when crisis comes.
Mm. Someone once said, I came across something on mental fitness or mental wellness, that it's okay to be in a state of depression or be in a gloomy mood for at least 48 hours. But after the 48th hour, or that's 2 days, you should snap out of it. Is that the norm?
Well, in when you say reactive depression, it's usually short term. Uh, but if it goes beyond the usual, like it goes more than 2 weeks, and you cannot work,
Mm,
you cannot eat, or there's such a thing as clinical depression. Your vegetative symptoms, such as your sleep, is either you oversleep or you have insomnia. If you overeat or you don't eat at all, and you don't enjoy the usual things that you do on a day-to-day basis, like cooking or interacting, and you feel hopeless that nothing can be done to solve your problems. And worst of all, if you have these suicidal thoughts, those are what we call symptoms of a clinical depression. But
mm,
some individuals can still suffer from depression because you lost an individual, somebody died in your family, which is part of the process of grief, really. So not all depression we consider as clinical depression.
mhm. What about those who do not have thoughts of suicide, but they do self harm? Like if they're frustrated or overwhelmed with anger, they will hit their head against the wall.
We usually call them self-harm rather than suicidal or
Mhm.
suicidality. More often than not, there is an underlying cause for this. If you have noticed over the last 2 years before the pandemic, you see a lot of this younger generations who are easily frustrated and cannot
Mhm.
cope up with school, and they have this cutting, what you call,
Yeah.
cutting behavior. Yeah, uh, there is an underlying psychiatric conditions why they do this. There are people who have some personality disorder, though we always say that this can be a risk to progression to a severe depression.
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
still have to be worried about them, even though there is no actual intention, but they just want to hurt themselves. We still have that is we still consider them as a risk to a progression.
Okay. Would you say that during these pandemic times, you would consider it quite a challenge to your profession.
It is really quite a challenge, despite the fact that we have technology such as doing telemedicine. This is quite different in mental health that you see patients on a face-to-face basis. The how do you call it? The connection with the doctor-patient relationship is quite different online as you see them in person.
Mhm. What
So
changes? What is really the, of course, the actual sight of a person that is within reach, within touch, right? But what is the effect on the brain here? And how is the brain going to process that?
well,
Person through a
uh,
machine.
it's quite different in a technological form because, as I've said, the connection is quite not as personal. It's like seeing a doctor only online. But because of the circumstances, really, this is just a way to prevent both the patient and the doctor from being able to accidentally contract the virus. But we have limitations to this. We always say that there is a limitation to a telemedicine because you cannot do physical examination. You cannot do all these diagnostics. It's basically good for those who you have seen before, and you have a very good idea of what the history of the illness is. But for new cases, it is quite a challenge.
Mhm. Would you say that the cases of mental problems, the cases have risen?
That definitely. We just finished our Southeast Asia Mental Health Forum last week,
Mhm.
and the reports there has been quite an increase in the number of individuals seeking helplines, and there are also increase in the number of hospitalizations for those who are in exacerbation in government institutions. Even with frontliners, almost all training psychiatric programs are open up a 24/7 hotline for frontliners, for doctors and nurses.
Mhm.
Uh, Eventually, uh, the burnout symptoms are coming out.
Exactly. You mentioned burnout. Frontliners are really literally burned out day in, day out, more
Yes,
so than the average person.
yes, because you cannot close a hospital. You can close a government office or a private office, but you cannot close a hospital. It's a 24/7 kiosk. We have to see patients regardless of what the risks are.
Talking about risks, what about the impact on people with the idea, waking up every day with a fear or the idea that could I be manifesting a symptom that I keep seeing on television? I mean, isn't that enough to make someone unravel or become unraveled?
Well, maybe there is a misconception regarding mental health
Mhm.
that, not because you feel depressed or you feel anxious, that you're already in the verge of suffering from a mental illness. Some
Okay,
of
very
these are just reactions. So let us not be overwhelmed just because of what we see and we compare ourselves to others. Every individual is a different person.
good. So stop comparing.
Definitely.
You know, it's like when, at home, when my family will bring up, do you know the number of cases in the US or in Europe? There's a second wave. I always say, okay, can we do anything about it all the way here in the Philippines, all the way from the Philippines? Of course, the answer is no. So please, let's not discuss it over dinner.
Is
Is that a good thing to do?
Yeah, that's very right. That is very right. We have to get our facts right. We have to listen to accurate reports.
Mm.
If we keep on reading all the materials, all the media, and all those stuff, we will really be overwhelmed because of the numbers and because of how they express these numbers. That is why we are saying that if you have to get a reliable source of your information.
You said that you just finished your forum, right, for Southeast Asia?
Yes, we had a comparison of what is going on with them and what's going on.
Did you come up with some resolutions?
Well, this is just more a discussion of what will be, what would probably be our, how we'll deal with this COVID in the long term. We just showed each other what is going on in their country and our country. And this is a collaboration to see how they were able to do it well there. And maybe we can also use the strategies that they are doing.
Mm-hmm. Could you give us an example? So,
Most of this, like I think in Singapore, there's a least number of cases. It's more. I think that the universal message here is that when the COVID pandemic started, everything was focused on the medical side. But eventually, they realized that the mental or psychological state of individuals will eventually follow through. So that is when mental health became a bigger issue in the pandemic, instead of just being able to be contaminated or affected by the virus.
mm-hmm. All right. How would you know if a loved one or even you yourself have some form of mental illness? What would the signs be?
I think the general concept is disregarding the diagnosis for each cases. There are three factors that you should consider. One is if you will have a disturbance in your functioning and productivity, like if you used to go to school, suddenly you refuse to go to school, or you don't lack the energy, or you cannot focus well or concentrate. Secondly, if this is becoming bothersome in your psyche or your way of thinking, you are perceiving things in a very negative way, despite the fact that it is not happening yet. You're already predicting a worse outcome.
Yes.
Or your social interactions becomes poor. Like you used to go out with friends, you have good social circles. Eventually, you pull back and you stop seeing anybody. You don't wish to talk to anybody. I think that this is the general symptoms that maybe you might need to seek professional advice.
I see. Okay. We're going to answer more questions. Dr. June Alinea will answer more questions when we come back. Huwag po kayong aalis, mga katribo.
This is a very important story. The important story.
Pictures and stories.
Today, we feel the weight of history on our shoulders. The way we have been moving leads nowhere. We need to change course.
Since the United Nations was founded, the human race has never had to face a set of challenges like we do right now. But together, we can overcome them.
Magsha-shopping na lang ako!
#143SM. Call to deliver.
Hello, can you get the following? One pink chair, bed sheets, na pink yung sofa, tapos slides, size 8, pajamas na blue. Oh, don't forget my
#143SM. Call to
Wait lang. Okay ba yan?
Anything at the SM store, ma'am.
Kuya, pwede rin ba ako magpa-deliver sa ate ko sa Taguig, tapos sa friend ko sa Davao, tsaka sa, cancel ko sa Lipa? Okay ba yan?
Kahit saan po, pwede kami mag-deliver.
Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver. Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver. Call. Hashtag 143SM. Hashtag 143SM. Call to deliver.
Call na rin kayo.
Call to deliver.
Welcome back mga katribo dito po sa Kalingang KaTribu. Ayan, tuloy ang ating talakayan tungkol sa mental health, mental wellness at ang impact ng pandemya sa ating mental state. Dr. June, ito na. Siguro nagtatanong ang ating mga kaibigan, mga katribo, kung paanong mananatiling normal ang ating buhay kahit sinabi nyo abnormal ang sitwasyon.
Well, I think kailangan po natin na tignan ang ating mga sarili kung paano tayo makaka-cope up. We can only say na may mga bagay na pwede kang matutunan during the course of this pandemic. Makikita natin na when this pandemic started, lahat tayo ay naka-isolate. Pero marami tayong nakita sa mga online vlog, ang mga tao ay napunta sa planting, mga plantitos and plantitas,
Yes, nag-baking.
nag-baking, natuto magluto, hanggang sa magkaroon pa sila ng mga online business. So we have to be creative. Kasi nga po, may limitasyon tayo sa movement. So kailangan natin gamitin kung ano yung available sa atin. And marami pa pong bagay, like we can do exercise at home, we can read books. Ang nakakalimutan ng iba siguro, there is also such a thing as spiritual and spiritual how do you call it? Endeavors, ano? We can look back and see kung ano yung mga nangyari sa atin. It's not a religion. It's not for a religion. It's more spiritual. Kumbaga, mas malaking konsepto ng pananalangin more than just a religious belief.
In fact, Dr. June, I know there have been countless books written on the power of faith and prayer on actual physical healing.
Yes, I think that has been proven even in our field. We already incorporated this to what we call yung biological, psychological, social, and spiritual. So we believe that this is very much helpful, especially in these times when we have limited resources pagdating sa mga ating basic medical and mental health needs.
Ayun. I think we're going to give way para sa ating Netizens Corner. So we'll give a chance to our mga katribu to ask questions. But if not, I already have a lot of advanced questions from those who are watching. Instead of texting Tribune, ayan, dumiretso na dito. Yan. Okay. So, Doc, have you had any dramatic cases while we're waiting for the other questions? Have you had any dramatic case that you can discuss with us that will best depict a person who has been affected by this pandemic?
Well, when we opened what we call online support group, which is the Mind Matters, meron po kaming caller from an LSI or those who were locally stranded individual worker.
Yes.
So, dahil hindi siya makauwi sa kanilang probinsya sa Visayas, parang siya ay masyadong nawala ng ganang kumain. Maya't maya iniisip niya kung kamusta na yung pamilya niya. Kasi nga, sabi niya, mahina ang signal doon. So he cannot actually call them, to the point na parang natutulala na siya and hindi na siya nakakausap. And there were times na parang nakikita nila na nagsasalita siya mag-isa, o parang sinasabi niya na mabuti pang mawala na ako dito. These are the things na na-observe ng kanyang mga kasamahan ng mga, marami po sila, because they are usually construction workers who came from the Visayas area going to Manila. Luckily, they were able to find our hotline in Mind Matters, and we were able to talk to him, miski na papano, and for us to be able to at least pacify yung kanyang mga pakiramdam, masupport siya, at pinapayagan naman ang online prescription on a limited basis para lang ma-obserbahan namin siya. And eventually, after 2 weeks, naka-recover naman siya ng gusto at natulungan siya ng employer niya para matawagan yung kanyang kamag-anak, just to be able to be reassured na okay naman pala sila doon.
So you're saying you can reach a point of desperation.
Yes, ma'am. There is a point na tinatawag natin na hopelessness, na parang you feel guilty that you cannot do anything. And you feel hopeless na wala ka nang magagawa. That's why they really feel desperate na.
Itong Dr. June, merong katanungan galing kay Arman ng Tondo. Ano ang nagiging sanhi ng mga problema sa kalusugan ng kaisipan? Nalilito ako ngayon kasi ang dami kong iniisip, lalo na sa trabaho at pamilya ko. Ano pong pwede kong gawin?
Marami na pong studies na nakita na ang pag-iisip ay malaki ang naidudulot sa physical na katangian ng isang tao. Physical and mental health are actually something that goes hand in hand. So kung meron kang mga tinatawag na high blood at iba-ibang sakit, it can actually increase yung medical risk mo kapag ikaw ay nagkakaroon ng mga mental health issues. Now, siguro,
sa hotline nyo, Doc?
Yes, or there is also an open hotline by the DOH, National Center for Mental Health, which is 24/7 also. Just click sa DOH. They can call. Siguro we will try to reevaluate kung ang sakit ba niya ang physical health ba niya ay lumalala dahil sa physical, or ito ay na-aggravate lang po because of the mental issues na iniisip niya na problema. Siguro dahil hindi siya makapagtrabaho. Ang problema natin ngayon, ang pinaka-problem natin ngayon is trying to balance between economy and health, which is a very difficult thing to do.
That's why sabi daw nila, lift the lockdown already. Lift the quarantine.
Wala naman po problema doon, but I think titignan natin yung long term. As I've said, it is a very difficult balancing act that the government has to do in cooperation with the medical profession. And we'll see. Hopefully, everybody wish na sana ito ay matapos na.
Yan ang dasal ng lahat. Ito po, isa pang tanong galing kay Elmer ng Nabotas. Ano-ano ang mga pangangalaga sa kalusugan ng aming pag-iisip sa panahon ng pandemyang coronavirus? Minsan, nawawalan na kami ng pag-asa para magpatuloy sa buhay. Normal po ba yan? Doc, mukhang... Okay. Ng advice. Ayan, magandang katanungan to.
Sa ngayon po, naiintindihan nga natin na tayo ay may mga limitasyon sa lahat ng bagay pagdating sa movement, sa trabaho. Kung ang problem kasi natin ay masyadong nare-restrict na tayo, dapat siguro ho isipin natin ano pa ba ang pwede nating magawa sa bahay on a day-to-day basis. We have to be creative kasi Hindi namin masabi na ito ang dapat yung gawin kung hindi naman hilig nyo to. Marami pong bagay like physical exercise. There's also such a thing as yung nag-yoga. Kung hindi naman i-deal natin yung ating physical na functioning sa mga bagay na makakatulong sa pang-araw-araw. Hindi ko po masasagot ang masyadong problema pagdating sa ekonomiya or unemployment. Only those sa medical natin na kumain ng tama, hindi naman sobra, hindi kulang. Magamitin natin yung ating pag-iisip kasi nga mahirap ma-stock yung tinatawag natin na intellect. So either we watch good news or to read. Marami po We have this music therapy, may mga art therapy, and sabi nga nila, this is probably the longest time we can share our time with our children. Kasi nga, kadalasan, busy ang mga magulang, hindi na nila nakakasama yung mga anak nila. Iiba lang po tayo ngayon because this is a new normal.
At saka, lahat ng mga tao naghahanap ng mga pagkain na sariwa na syempre yung tinanim dito sa Pilipinas. Kasi it's very hard right now to find vegetables and fruits. Minsan ang hirap talaga, Doc. So baka pwede rin magtanim. Magtanim si Elmer. I don't know, I'm just thinking yung mga pangangailangan ng mga tao ngayon, naghahanap sila ng sariwa at masustansyang gulay dahil kailangan manatiling malusog ang katawan sa panlaban sa COVID. Ito po, Doc, galing kay Junjun ng Malabon, normal po na makaramdam ng takot at pagkabalisa sa panahon ng COVID-19, lalo ng tumatagal ang krisis na ito. Bukod sa pag-alaga ng ating kalusugan upang makaiwas sa coronavirus, alam naman namin na mahalaga rin na alagaan natin ang ating mental health habang nananatili sa loob ng bahay. Ano pwedeng gawing outlet para maiwasan isipin ng mga bagay na hindi maganda?
Siguro po ang pinaka-importante dito is maiiwasan natin itong virus sa pamamagitan ng mga basic na sinasabi natin na wash your hands regularly, magsuot ng mask at saka face shield kung pupunta kayo sa tindahan, and yung tinatawag natin na social distancing. Ito pong minimal na request ng gobyerno natin ay napakalaki po ng mababawas na risk o panganib sa atin. Basta sundin lang natin itong tatlo na to. Hindi po natin may iwasan na pwede lahat tayo po, even mga doktor, o miski na nasa bahay na, pwede pa rin magkaroon kasi nga, minsan ng mga kasama natin sa bahay ay napaspasok din. Either mapunta sa palengke, babalik sa bahay. So, itong basic na tinuturo sa atin na hand washing, face shield, face mask, and social distancing, malaki po matutulong yan. And then, tumingin po tayo tignan po natin sarili natin kasi nga maraming beses kala natin isang bagay lang alam natin, yung pala marami pala pa tayong talent, ano?
Maraming talento, hindi pa na-discover nyo.
Correct.
Ito, Doc, walang pangalan. How are you coordinating with the government and private sector to ensure that your plans will push through?
We have our organization is partnering with the Department of Health. They have this mental health and psychosocial support group under the Department of Health. We always coordinate, and we get We help them provide infographics and messages, uplifting messages to all our kababayans, especially our essential and frontliner workers. Magko-coordinate rin kami sa ibang mga government agencies together with the medical group, the Philippine Medical Association, to give our scientific findings to be able for them to see what the future is during this pandemic.
Doc, for our final question, galing kay Jack ng Quezon City. Nakakabahala po ngayon kasi yung mga anak ko ay mga bata pa. Ano-ano ang age na nagiging issue ang mental health?
Iba-iba po yan. Marami pong risk factor for children, marami pong risk factor sa adult, and marami pong risk factor for elder. For children, siguro ang marami ngayon ay nai-stress sila sa eskwela. This assuming na walang tinatawag na child neglect or child abuse, ang nagiging issues ng mga, especially those who are in the school age, is yung paggamit ng online educational program. Alam naman po natin na matagal silang nawala ng eskwela for almost 6 months. Sabay babalik bigla sa eskwela, sabay baka ma-overwhelm sila sa quantity ng mga itinuturo. So hopefully the school and the Department of Education will do a study as to what is the impact of video or tele-schooling for our younger countrymen at mga kabataan.
Baka ng mga contact numbers po ninyo, lalong-lalo na sa inyong hotline?
We'll give it to you, ma'am. I don't have it right now, but you can post it. Our number, the Philippine Psychiatric Association, is 0918-942-4864. And they can also look us up in Facebook, so we do referral systems kung nasan man sila ng lugar sa Pilipinas, at hahanapan namin sila ng mga members.
Sa Facebook, ang Philippine Psychiatric Association?
Yes, ma'am.
Yun lang, sa Facebook, Philippine Psychiatric Association.
Yes, so tama. Then we will refer you to any area in the Philippines that has psychiatrists.
Doc, bilang isang psychiatrist, ito ang tanong ko, ano ang ginagawa nyo nang manatiling sane ang buhay nyo sa dami ng mga challenges nyo ngayon?
Well, we still meet each other sa Zoom, sa aming organization to discuss kung ano yung mga issues regarding sa ibang regions. Meron kami tinatawag na musika tria. It is a singing psychiatrist who shows videos of songs just to relax us. This work is a passion, and it's more than seeing people get better. It's already a very big reward to us, and it makes us more relaxed that people are more concerned now about mental health.
So, mga singing doctors, maganda pala yung music or singing for therapy, right?
Yes, that is a therapy too.
So, dapat kumanta habang nasa shower, sing in the shower.
Very right.
Tama ba, Doc? So, Doc, wala na po tayong oras. We'd like to thank you, Dr. Amedeo Jr. Alinea, President of the Philippine Psychiatric Association, for sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cory, for inviting us, and it is always a pleasure to enlighten everybody regarding mental health.
Ayan mga katribu, see you again next week. Same time, same place, dito po sa Kalingang KaTribu. Remember, we stay strong together. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. God bless you.
Catch the latest news on our website tribune.net.ph and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. The Daily Tribune is one with the nation in facing the COVID-19 crisis, and in line with this, the Daily Tribune digital edition and press reader is now available for free online. You can also download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS users and Google Play for Android users to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune is also inviting everyone to join its community Viber KaTribu to get updates on the freshest and hottest news and entertainment stories of the day. Tarcito emoticons are also available on our community Viber. Just click on the link in this video to join.
Bilang bagong mag-asawa, sabay kami natututo sa buhay.
Sabay rin namin inaaral ng mga bayarin sa bahay.
Kahit kami, nagtaka sa biglang laki ng electricity bill namin. Huwag pong mangambang maputulan. Sinisigurado ng Meralco na walang disconnection hanggang September.
Estimated bills lang ang natanggap natin ng March, April at para sa ilan, May. Dahil sa lockdown, isang tabi to para hindi na maguluhan.
Ang May o June ay actual meter reading na. Kung May, nagka-actual reading, ibabawas dito ang huling reading bago mag-ECQ. Yan lang po ang ating babayaran hanggang 3 buwang konsumo.
Kung estimated reading sa May at June nagka-actual reading, ibabawas din dito ang huling reading bago mag-ECQ. Yan lang po ang ating babayaran. Hanggang 4 na buwang konsumo, walang labis. Tandaan, kung ano lang na konsumo,
yun lang ang babayaran.
ako po si Amedeo G.
At ako naman po si Sarah G.
G?
G!
Good morning, sir. How may I help you?
Bakit kailangan ko pang pumunta sa bangko?
Kung nga naman, sir, ba't kailangan pang pumunta sa bangko?
Why not get a UB app so you can do all these without going to the bank? Bank the way you live. Union Bank.
Ang Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators o POGO ay isang legitimate business entity na nagbibigay serbisyo sa offshore gaming para lamang sa mga manlalarong nasa abroad sa pamamagitan ng internet. Ang mga serbisyong handog nito ay katulad ng casino games at sports betting na pwedeng laruin kahit wala sa casino. Sa Pilipinas, walang POGO operators. Tanging POGO service providers lamang dahil nagaganap ang mga laro sa labas ng bansa.
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Bini Bini pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first catch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. Araneta City, the city of firsts.
Click, that's it. Never thought self-service can be this slick. Modify plans in a snap, walang hirap. It's a wrap, just tap the app. Now you can check, view, subscribe, renew. Help and support for you. Out with the Ring app, sir, the in thing, you know what to do. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Self-service and easy to use, mas okay tayo dyan. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Instant response, no hold time pa, wala nang hintayan. Download Globe at home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan. Download the Globe One and Globe at Home apps from Google Play Store and Apple App Store now. Download Globe at Home and Globe One app all in the Globe app na yan.